Good morning. How's everybody doing? Wow. You can see back here it's a rainy day here in the Kansas City area. But Apple Watch says, oh, it's giving me a message. No. 44 degrees and the high is going to be 52. So it's getting cold. Yeah, sweater weather. Sweater weather is what I just said. Sorry, sweater weather. I don't know if you can say that, if I can say that. Anyways, let's see if my camera wants to get in focus here. Wake up, camera. How's everybody doing today? October 21st, so we're rocking and rolling. Holiday season's getting close. I feel like I'm out of focus here. Wake up, camera. No, doesn't want to wake up today. All right, whatever. So, hey, if you're on here, say hi. Hello. Where you from? Who you be? What's happening in the world today? So let's see. I've got an interesting topic today, and should be kind of fun. We're going to talk about some cool science, really more history of the science and of cosmology, the Big Bang Theory, if it still is even relative anymore. Some new studies that have come out, so it should be kind of fun. Anyway, so thanks for joining. And again, if you're on, say hi to me, because I can't really see who's on unless you say hi to me. And go ahead and share this out with your friends and on your page. I really appreciate that. Anyway, so let's get started here. Let's get into this morning's episode. So, do you think that our little blue world, our little blue rock here is special or unique in the vast universe? Well, today we're going to dive into a little bit of science. We're going to look at some history, and we're going to try to answer that question today. So, my name is J. Scott MacMillan. I am the author of Be the Hero of Your Life. This is a book to help you get unstuck in your life. If you've been at that point in your life where things have gone good, but all of a sudden you're stuck in a rut and you can't quite figure out how to get the heck out of it and how to maybe find your purpose and live that dream life that you've always been wanting to, but never could quite get it. This is what happened to me, and I wrote a book about how to get out of it, how to use the hero's journey as a metaphor to help you understand who you are at a profound level that will give you the courage then to face your fears and move forward. And then we talk about a little bit about quantum physics. We talk about how the mind, how our thoughts really create our life. And I've got a unique meditation slash visualization I'm calling now MedViz, which is a meditation and visualization practice to really pull in and stay on your positive vibes and pull in and manifest what you want in your life. All right. So, Anybody still on there? Hello. So before we dive into some of the fun, serious stuff, I always like to just show something in the news. I don't have a lot of news today, but I've got this wonderful pictorial of just some beautiful pictures, and I just want to show it here because I don't know, it just, to me, photography is just so beautiful. And let's see if I can pull that up here. What does that look like? Let's see. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip through a couple of these slides and just this beautiful, obviously Aurora Borealis, Northern Lights here. Now, believe it or not, I'm not sure exactly where this is. Let's see, where is the caption? This says Alpine. Oh, Colorado's Elk Ridge Range. I grew up in Montana, and so I have seen vistas like this up close and live, and it's just breathtaking. But this is in Colorado. Ooh, wow, that's awesome. Beautiful. I love that shot. I'm an amateur photographer. Actually, I actually was a pro photographer, a portrait photographer for a couple years, and it was interesting because I'd been an amateur photographer and just loved photography my whole life. And when I went pro for a couple years, it kind of took all the fun out of it. So I'm glad to be back and just an advanced amateur and loving photography. So look at this. So, oh, look at that black one in the background there. That's really cool. These coyotes. It's funny. I live in the suburbs of Kansas City, and you can see kind of in the background there. And looked out this back window, and I saw a coyote just walking down the street, just like in the middle of the day, loving life, like no worries in the world. Thought that was too funny. Yes. Beautiful lighthouse. Wow, look at that shot. See, now I have to wonder if that's photoshopped. I'm guessing not. This is from National Geographic. Let's see where this is. Oh, wow. Pacific Ocean. Putnam Laguna. Huh. Interesting. Wow, that's beautiful. I don't know. I just really love photography. I love this shot and the subtle colors and the shades. I've got a image that's similar to like this, actually, of a lake with a sailboat kind of floating by. It's got similar shades. I love that shot. Ah, there we go. Let's see. Is that? Wow, where's that? I don't know. This is pretty close to the Mission Mountains in Montana that I am from. Yeah, Grand Tetons. Yeah. I'm not a huge hiker, but I know a lot of friends that would go up into the Teton Mountains. Beautiful. Buffalo. See, a lot of this is in the western, where I'm really originally from. This could be in the elk. Where's this one? Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Nice. That's a cool shot. Buffalo and the elk. Okay, that's it. All right. Let me get back here. Oh, that was supposed to do it. Okay, cool. Anyways, so I don't know. I thought it was a little fun. I always just love photography, showing that. So what else we got? Oh, let's do meme of the day before we get started here. So this was a pretty cool one. It says, so many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. Christopher Reeve. I love that. Wow. Get your mind straight, and you can do anything. That is an awesome quote. All right, so welcome everybody. Let's dive in. All right, so I watched a couple of really interesting documentaries. I'm a huge documentary geek, love documentaries, and they really got me thinking about a couple of things that I thought I kind of had figured out. It's kind of a deep subject, and it's about spirituality and science and how they connect, and some basic fundamentals of science that science has been grappling with for quite a while. So I used to think that the Big Bang was a scientific truth. Now, this Big Bang and not this Big Bang. Let's get clear on what I'm talking about here. And I thought for sure that here's my phone. Turn that off. I thought for sure that there was enough scientific evidence to prove that the universe and the Earth were created by this exploding energy that was created 13 billion years ago. And I still basically fundamentally, believe that to be true. But I was born and raised Catholic. So, I was taught that the world was created in 7 days by God. But as I grew up, I realized that that really couldn't be true, and that there was enough science to really show that the world was created by the Big Bang 13 billion years ago. But how was I going to reconcile my Christian faith with science and what pretty much all scientists at this point, or even when I was younger, believed to be true? So I really do like it when science and spirituality connect, and I feel that they are coming together. I feel that some of the ancient principles that have been talked about since man and put into the great documents and the great religions of the world, um, really had it right. And that although they didn't have the science to prove it, they really understood the fundamental basis of spirituality and what it meant to be connected to a creator. And I really think that science now is catching up, and that we're, with our scientific methodologies now, we're basically proving out that these are true principles and they've been true forever. Good morning, Sandy. So I have written in my book, Be the Hero of Your Life. In there, I outline and talk about quantum physics and the premise that everything in the universe is both a particle and a wave. And this is the basic concept of quantum physics, that at the minute level, we're talking about what we think is solid is actually moving energy in waves. And that it doesn't actually begin to be solid or come in solid until we observe it, which is called the observer effect. And so what's interesting about this is that I use that concept to say, look, if this is possible, if quantum physics is saying that what we're seeing is not necessarily what's there at the molecular level, then what else can be true? What else could we manifest into our life if we focus our mind and our thoughts enough and get our frequencies to the point where we can connect to the universe, to our creator, and manifest and bring in what we want in our lives. So generally, I still believe that, but I had some interesting thoughts and eye-opening information from these couple documentaries. So they were actually called, if you guys are interested in looking them up, one's called The Principle, and this talks about the Copernicus principle that basically says that the Earth revolves around the sun and that planets revolve around the sun. And the other one is called Quantum, what was it called? The End of Quantum Reality. And they basically outline how science now has starting to, have always grappled with trying to have a unified theory that connected this quantum world at the very small level to the relative world, like of planets, and how gravity, creates momentum and planets revolve around each other based on their mass, basically. And so those two equations never really have connected. And so science has always been grappling, trying to find this unified theory that would connect all those together, and they've really never been able to do it. And so there really are a couple different sides in science even that are trying to figure out, where do we come from? What's the origin of the earth and man and so on? So what's interesting is that one of the reasons that they say that if we know that this table, that they're not solid, but they look and appear solid, the question is why? Why does that happen? Well, they don't really know because they can't really measure it exactly, other than this observer effect, which means that particles, they only become particles when we observe them. That up until that point, they're anything, they're nothing, they're energy. It's kind of hard to grasp that concept. But that the reason that the table is always the table and the apple is always an apple is because that we've been taught as a collective, as a community, from eons, from the creation of man, that this is the case, that this table is hard, we can feel it through our senses, therefore it must be. And sort of that collective consciousness always appears this way for us. I don't know, that's a little wishy-washy, I'm not sure I quite understand it exactly, but I think bottom line, as they're saying, is that we just know that the table's going to be hard, and so that's the way we're always observing it into reality as a hard table. Would there be any other option? I don't know. It doesn't really matter, I don't think. But again, these scientists have been trying to create these competing theories and connect them. Now, because of that, some of the scientists have come up with some pretty strange alternative options. And one of them is called the multiverse, where basically there's an infinite number of universes out there. And that, again, quantum theory goes into this theory that if that's the case, then everything is potential, and that there's all these universes that are just out there. And so every one of us, every one of me, every one of you, there's an infinite number of other universes that have us living lives and doing things. And if that's the case, well, then we can manifest anything that we want because it's already happened in another universe. That was one of the theories that I kind of believed in for a while. Not sure I do anymore. I really always felt a little bit uneasy about this, but I think it's an interesting theory to talk about. So the problem is we can't really test that, and that's why there's always going to be a problem with that. The other one that scientists have come up with, or a couple more, is about this dark energy and about dark matter, and trying to come up with a theory of what the heck is out there in the universe if we have this relative theory that means that the Earth surrounds the sun, or the sun surrounds the Earth, or whatever. So let's go back and look at a little bit even more into the history of this. So around 1500, Nicholas Copernicus was an astronomer. He proposed that for the first time, he's the one that proposed that actually the Earth surrounds the sun. Now, up until that point, it was always believed that everything surrounded the Earth. The Earth was the center of the universe, and that the sun and the planets and everything surrounded the Earth. And the connection was through the church and the state, or the governments, the kingships, they were always connected. And really, science had to sort of bend to the church's will, because the church at the time was sort of ruling, and the kings and the church were together. And we know from there were lots of scientists that could see, like Galileo could see through his telescopes, that the Earth didn't, or the sun didn't revolve around the Earth. But he was too afraid, and then there was this whole trial on science that basically condemned Galileo for saying that. So that's the key point here to notice, that up until Copernicus, it was believed that the Earth was the center of the universe, and that everything surrounded us. And that was partly because, our Creator, God at the time, this was the only thing we knew was the Earth, right? And really didn't know about other universes. And so, of course, God would have us as the center of the universe, and if there was other planets out there, we still were the center of it, and that we were the only ones that had life, again, because it was too hard to think about. Think about the church at the time was not going to allow other planets with other universes or galaxies, which could have other potential people that they would have to figure out how to control at the time. I'm not saying that negatively. I'm just saying that that's what they believed, that they weren't going to allow that information out, because that just opened up too many ideas and a can of worms. So they were going to shut that down back then. But Copernicus was the first one that finally said, okay, this is the way it is. It became known as the Copernicus principle. And so it really wasn't until Isaac Newton came along in the 1600s and said that, really neither the sun nor the Earth is the center of the universe. And that he came up with the theory of relativity, which basically states that objects move in relation to other bodies of mass. So the biggest body of mass, other planets, will revolve around that. And then in 1920, Edwin Hubble established our galaxy as one of many, many galaxies, thousands of galaxies out there through the Hubble telescope. So science continued really to march on with all these discoveries, but they really couldn't find a unifying theory that would connect the two together. So some scientists believed at this time that the scientists that believed in the quantum theory and that believed really that there is no creator, that we're just this happenstance of happened to be this planet that just fit perfectly in the universe with just enough distance from the sun and just enough in the right place, that comets and other planets wouldn't collide with us so that humans could flourish, that was all an accident, or a beautiful accident, but that there was no creator that created it. And but there are a lot of scientists out there that do believe that there's a connection between a creator and our worlds. And they would say sometimes that these other scientists were just coming up with new ideas so that they could prove that there were religious beliefs, or that there wasn't a creator. And I mean, who knows at this point? But I'm just trying to illustrate that has been this battle back and forth, and that even a lot of scientists do believe that there is something special about the Earth, and that there is a creator, no matter if you believe in the Big Bang or not. I've always, like I said, believed in the Big Bang, but for me it was simple, that our creator created the Big Bang and started us. Well, there's some new information that's coming out in science. Before you get there, this is interesting. I don't know if you've heard of a guy named Michio Kaku. He's been on TV a lot talking. He's a theoretical physicist, and he's on lots of TV shows, and he talks a lot about these concepts. And he says that the difference between quantum theory and the other relative theory about the planets, there's such a wide divide there between those theories. He says that in science, if you're off by a factor of 10, you're like, oh, that's horrible, that theory must be wrong. But in this case, with the quantum versus relative issue, that we're off by a factor of 10 to the 120th. And it's the largest mismatch in theory and experiment in scientific history. So this is a big deal. And obviously, it's why people and scientists are continuing to try to figure this out, because it's a huge difference. And that just drives scientists crazy. And so some of them just can't deal with that. And they're like, nope, it's got to be multiverse or dark matter. And they keep searching to find out, which is great. I think that we should continue to figure out our origins. That's what humans do. All right, so interesting enough, there's been some, and this is what a couple of these documentaries partly outlined, and they said there's been a couple of interesting scientific studies that are experimentally viable, meaning they're not just theories, they've been actually able to look at data from telescopes and scanning telescopes and what have you. And what they're saying is that, so hopefully this will make a little bit of sense. It's I'm going to have to paraphrase quite a bit, but they scanned like all these universes to try to find out if there was any commonality, and they realized that the universes, as far as they can see, are actually lining up in some sort of order. They're lining up in these concentric circles that have order to them. They're not just random or all over the place. That not only do these universes line up in these sort of orderly concentric circles, they map this axis that puts Earth in the center of it. That all the universes are sort of lining up concentrically around the center of the Earth. Well, that's interesting. So maybe the Copernicus principle isn't true. Maybe there is some validity to the Earth being the center of the universe. And then another one, I don't know if you've heard of the cosmic microwave radiation that they've been able to see through different methodologies and technologies, the radiation that was created from the Big Bang, that we can actually hear that. It's actually static. If you turn back in the old days when TVs had static, that was actually radiation that was hitting the Earth from the outfall of the Big Bang. We're not questioning that some sort of Big Bang happened. The question is, was what happened before the Big Bang? Was that all that there was? That's still trying to be figured out. If because the question is, well, how did the Big Bang start, right? My thought, sort of, again, part of this is faith, but that what was going on before the Big Bang, and there's lots of theories out there. But anyway, so this cosmic radiation, which was believed to really be coming at us in no particular direction, because the Big Bang started everything, so it would be random, and that we would have this radiation coming at us in all random directions, right? And they're starting to see from this that there is a particular direction, and it looks like it could be coming from the Earth. I don't quite understand that, but what it's basically saying is that it's not random, that there is a direction, that maybe this is coming from the Earth or from a certain direction, which just puts into question all of this basic theory that was held pretty standard. And in my mind, it puts in this whole question of, maybe we don't know as much as we thought we did, and that we're continuing to learn, and maybe there is some sort of validity that the Earth maybe is the center of the universe. And if that's the case, well, how could that be? And why would it be? So does it put into question that there is some creator out there that has organized this as this is Earth, we're God's people, and that we are at the center of the universe? And so I always thought that with all the universes and all that we could see with all the telescopes, that the universe was so vast, right? But I just believe the creator created all of it. I still do. But that there had to be other life forms out there. And why haven't we found any? We've been looking hard. We haven't found any. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't any out there, but it's just putting some interesting questions in my mind about that potential, that maybe we are God's creation and that we're the center of the universe and that there are no other life forms out there. So what does that mean? I don't know what it means. It just put in some new interesting information in my head that I kind of wanted to share. What do you guys think about that? Does any of that make sense? What are you guys' views on, are we the only ones out there? I mean, the question that was postulated in these documentaries was that, are we special? Or are we just random? I say we as in the Earth, but it comes down to us. If there is a creator that creates us and that we can connect to the creator via meditation and prayer and however else, sweat lodges, whatever we do, what does that mean for us? And I think it gives us peace. I think that it gives us something greater to live for. And I think it's an important part of life. But there are still scientists and people out there that are going to look for finding more answers. I think it's great. I think humans are built to do that, and I think we'll continue to do that. And that at some point we are going to know to a certain degree, or we're going to have more proof that there is either other life out there or there isn't, and that the Earth is the center of the universe, and that the whole universe sort of lines up around us, or Earth. It also begs the question is, if we're that special, and I think we are, then we got to take care of our planet. We got to take care of this. It's like, if you can understand that we're this special, unique situation in the whole galaxy and universe, oh my gosh, how could we possibly not take care of this and be responsible? So it's just another way, to view some of this. And I do think that eventually that we are going to catch up. We're going to get some answers. But it might be too late if we don't figure out how to quit destroying this planet or destroying each other and fighting and all the division that we have between us. And we've got an election coming up, and it's I hope that it goes good. I'm just going to say, because I don't want the potential chaos could be crazy. And let's just get out there and vote. I've got my mail-in ballot, and but I'm going to be dropping it off at a ballot location to make sure that it gets counted. So I hope you're voting out there. I hope everybody's voting, and this is our time. It's our time to to make our voices heard in our local election. It's time to make our voices heard about whether we care about this planet, whether we care about each other. And sometimes when you look at science, it just, for me, it makes me just think, I'm in awe of the universe and the planets. And I know there's a creator out there. And I'm just like, wow, it's just so amazing. And for me, when I connect to my creator through meditation, then I know that I just feel like I'm connected to the, that I believe that everything is energy and that we're all connected. And when I'm connected to my creator, I'm connected to everything. And that just makes me feel really peaceful and powerful. So what do you think? Anybody any comments that are still on here about that? I don't know. I zoomed through that a little bit. I just watched these a couple days ago, and I just felt compelled to kind of summarize it a bit, mainly for my benefit, to get some thoughts about this. And I'm not trying to tell people one way or the other what to believe in. It changed my view a little bit, mostly on the Big Bang, and that may not be the only way that happened. It also opened me up to that even though things that I thought science absolutely knew, maybe we're still learning. And we probably are. Why not, right? How can we know everything? I do think that we're going to continue to find out answers to some of the universal questions of who we are, where did we come from, how did we start, what happened. For me, I love the connection between science and spirituality. I think, again, that science is catching up and is going to literally be able to prove through theories and through experiments and studies and analysis that what the ancient wisdom of spirituality is always known. And how cool is that going to be? I think it's going to be cool. Because for me, it just continues to validate that there's more than just us here. And that it's powerful when we connect to that power, that creation, and however we do it. So that is it for today. Just wanted to lay that out there. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section, or send me an email, PM, DM me. You can find me at jscottmacmillan.com. And if you have any more questions about some of these concepts, about any of the things we talked about today, or if you need some help getting unstuck and you'd like a coach to help you get some new perspectives on how thoughts become things, or how the hero's journey can help you understand your life better, connect with me. I'd love to talk to you. So for today, I'm signing out, and we'll see you next week on Hero Live Hump Day. Bye, everybody.